Thank you for tuning in to the 65th episode of the Dandemonium Podcast. We're doing it, folks. And God bless all you little angels out there that decided to tune in and want to listen to a little bit of rant. I hope you find it interesting. I feel like it's lame as hell. I already tried 3 recordings and I'm like, nobody wants to hear this shit. Like, what do I talk about? What am I supposed to do? I start feeling like a fraud. I'm like, nobody, there's with all this media, all this social media, there's about 5 million podcasts out there. Who wants to tune into this shitty little podcast and hear ramblings of a crazed little midget? Huh? Huh? This is like my therapy, okay? This is my own personal therapy. So, anyways, thank you for tuning in. And I only have a few things to talk about. It's been a hell of a fucking week. Okay, we had the events that had taken place on Saturday, July 13th. This is now the following Sunday. So what, the 21st on July is when I'm putting this recording down. I wanted to do a recording last week, and I didn't have a super busy week, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to let things kind of mellow down a little bit through the weekend, and I'll get to recording an episode. I always procrastinate these episodes. It's not easy for me to just get on the mic and be like, okay, now you have to talk about something interesting that people can relate to, you know? And for anybody to listen to this podcast out of some 5 million, probably plus by now, every day there's like 20,000 new podcasts are released, okay? So anybody that chooses to listen to, and there was 13 people on the last one, God bless you little angels, right? So maybe we could get 14 this time, but anybody that takes any time out of their day is like, I am blessed, right? You are showing me that I can be somebody, that my golly, I'm strong enough. I'm handsome enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. And I don't give a shit. Like, I'm kind of a loner. Like, I like being by myself. All right, there's something about there's some stoicism, right? And sometimes it gets old and whatever, but it's like I just keep going and doing my own thing and taking care of business and running a company, trying to relax. Life isn't all just hustle and bustle and like you got to be out partying and just getting all crazy with your bros or your hoes. Sometimes you got to like turn it down a nacho, right? Take it back, dial it back to like 5, right? We don't got to be running on 11 all the time. And there's a little bit of calmness in that. Now, some people, they have a hard time with just being by themselves. And they have to be constantly like externally stimulated. And that's part of where like social media comes in. I don't give a shit if you say you're not addicted to your social media. And God bless you little angels that aren't, right? But it's always there. It's constant stimulation that you can always resort back to. It's and we're crazy for it, right? It's a crazy world. There's like social media is one of the craziest things out there, I think. Out of as crazy as everything is, it's social media. All right, so I had quite a fucking week. And then on Sunday, so we're talking about July 14th, I had a big tree limb in my yard, okay? This thing was about probably 50 feet long, right? This tree limb, it splintered at the trunk of the tree and it was leaning on my roof. So I had a tree limb fall on my house. This is the storms that we had in between the 14th of July, Sunday, and Monday morning. This tree limb wakes me up at 4 in the morning. I get up, which isn't uncommon for me around that time, and I hear this cracking, like splintering wood. And I'm like, I know I heard stuff last night. This is not good. So I grab a flashlight, I go outside to investigate, and I see this maybe 30 to 50 foot tree limb splintering from the tree on my roof. And I'm like, this is not good. There's nothing I can do about it now. It's 4 in the morning. I'll have to deal with this in the morning. All right. I try to go back to sleep, and my first thought is I'm going to have trouble. I'm going to be nervous about this. I won't be able to go back to sleep. Normally, when I can't go back to sleep, I'll start taking some slow breaths. 7 in, take a pause, 7 out, breathe from your lower abdominal area, your diaphragm, and that's really the proper way to breathe. And sure enough, within like 7 counts, 7 reps of that, like usually just can knock me out if I'm tired. To my surprise, I fell back to sleep. I fell into this crazy deep sleep, vivid dream state. It was fucking weird. Okay, but all that aside, I'm like, okay, and then I wake up in the morning. I go to take a shower. I get out of the shower. I'm like, why is it so hot in here? I'm sweating after the shower, and I thought I was getting sick. I actually broke out a thermometer. I'm like, do I have a temperature? I was running about 97.8 or 6, or it was right where I should be. I'm like, okay, well, that's not it. I look at the thermostat, and I'm running like 79 degrees in here. Lately, I've been setting it around 75. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Oh, excuse me. I'm like, well, what's going on now? Huh? A fucking tree limb is hanging on my house, just fucking leaning up against the house. I have the temperature, the thermostat is set for about 75. It's running 79. Something's not right here. I go outside by the air conditioner. The fan's not moving. It's not, air's blowing out of the vents inside the house, but it's not super chill. It wasn't maintaining. And in fact, the next time I looked at the thermostat, it was 80 degrees. So it just kept on climbing regardless of any airflow that's coming through the vents, and the fan's not going on. Boom. I know the fan's supposed to be on, and I got some problems at this point. So I got a tree limb on my house. My air conditioner is not working, and I'm getting the runaround with the insurance company. Before I actually talk to somebody, even with these recordings, don't you hate with these recordings? You just want to like talk to somebody and like get a clear issue of what the process is, what you're supposed to do, some direction. You talk to a human being, right? And it wants to send me, it's an automated message to file a claim. Press this number and we'll send you a link to your phone where you can then download the app and start filing your, fuck you. I call back. It was about 7 attempts before I actually talked to somebody, a human being. And you know how you do that? I don't care if it's a recording, and sometimes this doesn't work, but I'm like, I just want to talk to somebody. I followed the links, and I tried to do it their way, and then I get this error message, sorry, there's been an error with this process. And I'm like, well, did it go through? Did it start a claim, or did it not? Now I'm getting an error message. I just want to talk to somebody. So I called up again, and throughout the whole prompts where it's like, now say what your issue is, whatever, and then it's looking for a response from you, you just say representative, and it'll say, sorry, I can't help you, let's try this again in a different way. And you just say representative. They'll ask you another question like, sorry, let's try this again. I had to do that about 5 times, but it worked, and I just did that every time thereafter, and it connects you to a human being. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna connect you because this is not working. Yeah, no shit, I want to talk to somebody. Okay, because you're not handling my request, and I want to make sure I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing for this to be processing correctly. Otherwise, I'm going to process it, and then there's going to be some sort of kickback, and it's going to be like, well, that's not the way you were supposed to do it. You didn't do it properly. It's like, okay, because I'm talking to these damn computers that don't know, they're automated, they're programmed, and whatever. I mean, they're getting more intelligent, right? You could say a phrase, you're like, start a claim. And there's certain words that are programmed in that algorithm or whatever technology where it's like, okay, I understand you want to start. No, it's more like, I understand that you would like to start a claim. What is your claim about? Representative. So that was frustrating. This is all on Monday. We're just getting started, folks. Okay, then I spent about 3 days talking with again, just going through the process, getting the tree cleared. That took 2 days. There was a company that came out really quick, took care of it, blah, blah, blah. If you listen to my last episode, 64, I discuss yard work and how I've been putting off yard work for so many years, and over the years it's gotten really bad. Well, the past 2 weeks, I'm really making some great progress. The yard is being cleaned up. It's looking 10 times better. And boom, I got a big fucking tree limb leaning on my house. All right, my air conditioner's not working. Now it's Wednesday. I'm supposed to get back to work on Thursday. I go out for a quick trip at a local gas station, right? And this is Wednesday. And I start up my car. Now I have electrical issues, and that's beyond the point, but there was something going on with my vehicle. I go to start it. It doesn't kick over, right? All I see is a bunch of the flashing lights and symbols, and the wipers start moving. Basically, all the electronics in the car starts going wacko. All right, I'm like, that's not right. So I shut the car off, turn it back on, and it has some troubles. This time, maybe it took 3 attempts for the car to actually start. Okay, the car starts. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Hopefully it's good. I don't know what just happened. And anyways, long story short, that happened for that evening and then the next day. And I let the car run a little bit. And I think it was just a low battery charge. Maybe I had the key on the electronics. It kind of drained the battery, which then the alternator's in good shape. The battery's in good shape. And needed to let the car run a little bit to kind of recharge that battery. So that was taken care of. I didn't realize that till Thursday, the next day. All right. And then, but Wednesday evening, I get a call from somebody that I've known for years and longtime friend. And he goes on to tell me that he has some medical issues. And I'm like, holy shit, dude. This week just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Extra expense, with this tree cutting, the air conditioner. I thought my vehicle was going to shit, so now I got more vehicle expense, which didn't happen. That was the only good news that I got throughout the week. But geez, I'm like, give me a break. Thankfully, I picked up a little bit with work. It's taking up some time. It's kind of helping me to take my mind off of all this bullshit that's going on. All right. Now, go back and listen to episode 64. That's man, 2 weeks. 2 weeks I've been trying to clean up this yard. And now that the trees are cut, like, I like trees. I like the way that trees look. In my kitchen and living room, I have big windows, kind of trapezoidal windows, right? That fill up this peak roof. I look outside all the time. I'm used to seeing trees. I see the moon. Those windows face west, which is like the best. I see sunsets. I see the moon at full moon stages around the west. And like, I see the trees. Normally when there's a storm that rolls in, that's kind of my judgment on how windy it is, because I've been here for 13 years and I can kind of judge. I'd be like, there's 13 mile an hour winds right now, or if it picks up and I see those gusts are about 45 miles an hour, I see that. I can tell just by these beautiful trees that are on my property, right? They create little like playgrounds and homes for the animals. Birds might have some nests in there. I got squirrels around the property that just kind of run up and down these trees. It's like their playground. You know what? Not no more. I didn't chop down just one tree. I chopped down 2 big trees because the other one was highly compromised and damaged, and it was only a matter of time before that thing falls on something. And now that I had to chop down these little playgrounds and homes for these little animals to run around and just have a good time, when I walked outside my house that morning, the front tree was gone. I opened the garage door and there's 3 little squirrels running around like they didn't know where to go and what to do. They're like so used to these structures, right? And trees, they just look nice. I have to say, I miss my trees. I miss my trees. I don't even like my property anymore. I think this property is disgusting. I think this property is not good. It's not aesthetically pleasing anymore. It every time I look in that direction, I'm so used to seeing this beautiful structure of nature. Not no more. Okay, the act of God came through with a fist of fury and said, I am compromising your homestead and your property. Like, this is my castle, right? That has been acted upon. And it's not good. So all this extra expense, the act of God, Mother Nature, whoever it is, that's forcing these actions upon me. What did I do to you? All right. I'm not a bad person. I keep to myself. I just do my own thing. I try to take care of some business, and just live my life, right? I don't know. Sometimes you can't catch a fucking break. And the way that I'm explaining it to people is I feel like I've been saving up what I call catastrophe points, right? And it's like you go for like 10 years and you're like catastrophe free. Nothing, no major expenses, nothing really happened. Like, you're all good, but you're just saving those points up for a rainy day just to spend them all in 1 week. I mean, give me a fucking break. Okay? Yeah, back to the events. I just want to get this off my chest, which I'm not really like, it doesn't upset me because I want to let you know, first and foremost, that I am a proponent of free speech. Okay? I say a lot of stupid stuff. I have this one buddy that had a Facebook post out there, and it said, just all for fun, your rapper name is Lil, L-I-L, and the last thing you spent money on. So I make a comment, and I'm like, Lil Hooker. It's just a joke. And all facts aside, that is looking to be a little bit more of a reality than not these days. It was still a joke, and it did not happen. It's not the last thing I spent my money on. But I'm just kidding around. But people should be able to say and express themselves through speech, okay? And then in turn, that will kind of expose people for who they are. And hey, it will be what it will be, right? If people are a piece of shit, let them expose that they're a piece of shit. All right? So free speech is good. Nobody should be being canceled. I mean, there are limitations. Okay? We want to be good stewards of society. We want to be decent people, I would think, and I would hope. But there's a lot of crazies out there. So after the events on July 13th, so the attempted assassination on Trump, and that was crazy. It happened just after about 6 o'clock. Shortly thereafter, about 6:30, 6:45, I take a run down to my local gas station. Okay? There was nobody in the station, nobody in the store. There were 2 people behind the counter, 2 employees. Okay, I had to walk past them to where I was going, and I could tell that they were talking about the events that had just taken place. And he's like, yeah, just whizzed right past his face and like hit his ear, apparently. And so I knew that they were talking about it. I go get some items, and I go to check out. He's like, hey, how's it going? He was being an all right guy, being a nice guy. And I knew that they were just talking about these things. So I say, well, apparently I'm doing better than Trump. And he says, I don't know if this is just a quick emotional sort of way of talking or whatever. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to try and assume any judgment on why he said this. Well, he says why he said it. Okay. Well, I wish they didn't miss him. And I'm pretty stunned at this moment. And my first reaction, I say, well, we are on 2 different sides of that side, my friend. And I didn't say my friend, but I just said, well, we're on 2 different sides on that. He's like, my pension has doubled. I'm like, yeah, well, my groceries have doubled. My fuel has doubled. Everything, all the expenses have doubled. The other guy chimed in. He's like, I don't know what he was trying to say. From what I remember, it's like, well, and it doesn't matter if you're on this side or that side. I'm like, no, dude, it's the government, okay? The government is too involved in people's lives, and it's not right. They're over-exerting their powers and authority. And once we give away those freedoms, right, you don't get them back. Right? And it's just a continual progression of just gain in power. And power is, I don't know why people want so much power. Like, what? There's so many people and high profile figures out there that are just like so power hungry that they will stop at nothing to gain and attain and grow power, right? It's so messed up. And where was I going with that? I was power hungry. Yeah, so this is the way that I explain it, okay? This is like a marketing budget for some sort of, we'll call it a Fortune 500 company. Okay, they have a certain amount that they can spend on their marketing, right? And the way that the marketing budgets go, so that I've heard, is that you spend that money by the end of the year. So there's a little bit of expense going out. It doesn't matter what time of year that it goes out. But the point being that you have a budget to spend. If you don't spend that money, you won't get as much money next year. What you have to do is spend that money so you could get another marketing budget for the next year, right? Keep that budget going and increasing over the years. Well, now last year it was 200,000, and these are low numbers for a Fortune 500 company, I'm sure. But we're going to go give you $200,000, okay? The next year is $250,000. It's like, well, you spent 260, so maybe we give you 270, 275 the next year, and it just keeps on growing, right? And that's your freedoms being taken away. That's a continual growth of the government. This is an analogy. Stay with me here. But that is the continual growth and expansion of the government. And with that expansion is a increased invasion into your personal lives and your freedoms. Okay, it's just plain and simple. Or history is teaching us this in society. Okay, we can look back to a lot of different things and reference a lot of different things. Okay, but if we kind of research the past or have knowledge of the past, the reason to learn the past is that we don't potentially repeat the past, and we learn and we grow from that. That is life in itself, not only as an individual, but us as a civilization, and human evolution is a continual growth, okay? Anyways, I tell this guy, I try to explain in just brief words. I'm not looking to get into a fight or this big long discussion about what they think and what I think about the events that had just taken place. Okay, but I'm like, it's government, they're too involved, and whatever. That is a big part of the problem. And I check out, I pay for my things, I start to turn and walk out the place. And this guy wants to start rambling. Like right now, I was a little upset about what he had said, although I don't think that we shouldn't have freedom of speech. You can express what you want. Be a piece of shit, okay? If that's how you want to conduct yourself. But he starts talking and saying something, and I just keep walking out. I don't look back. I don't want to engage with this guy. And the weirdest part about it is, like, even what he was saying, I was so, like, irritated that I didn't even hear what he was saying. But he's like, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Your pension. You want to unalive somebody because your pension has doubled in the past 4 years. Good for you. Your pension has doubled. What's better for people? And I'm going to end this very shortly here. I'm just going into a rant, which I don't want to get into. But you should be able to say what you want to say. And yes, look out for yourself first and foremost. But also consider, like, humanity as a whole, maybe. Like, what's better for everybody? Like, it's great that your pension is doubled, but, like, it's more difficult for people to live in these days, okay? And whatever. You have to get out there, you have to take personal responsibility, and you have to do things to better your life. I don't know. I'm going to end this podcast, because I just get into these rants sometime, and the podcast that I listen to, if I listened to my own podcast, I'd be like, who cares? Who cares, dude? I got 5 million plus other podcasts that I can listen to, right? Loser. So God bless you little angels out there. If there's anything that we learned with this podcast, right, go listen to episode 64 once again. There's some podcasts that I'm proud of, and I get in a zone, and it feels good dropping these podcasts, and it's a little therapeutic for me personally, because I get to rant and just into the air, but that just feels good. I'm yelling, I'm speaking things out loud rather than just thinking them and being in my own head sometimes, So it's just, that's part of, I'm getting it out there in the cosmos. It's part of the atmosphere. It's maybe part of the energy, but I feel better. It's like a good workout or something. So if there's anything that we learned in this podcast, it's that, the act of God and Mother Nature can sometimes be a bitch. Save up those catastrophe points because you might need them one day just to spend them all in 1 week. Hopefully I don't have anything else coming my way in the future other than positive, good things. All right. Another thing is, respect other people's freedom of speech. Okay. Just try to be a good person or be a shithead if you want to. The choice is yours, but you will expose yourself, and just try to be a good person. Even if you don't go to church, you could still be a good person. And for the most part, I try to put positivity out there, but sometimes we got to call these motherfuckers out. We got to call out the demons, the shitheads, the nefarious activities. Be skeptical, ask questions. Maybe in the next 60 years, we're going to find out that it was possibly a government hit on Trump. Who knows? All right. But right now they're saying that the audio that has been analyzed of the rounds and the shots that were fired have been analyzed. And they're saying that there's possibly 2 shooters. There's so much misinformation, conspiracy theorists. Everybody's a fucking expert on all the new topics. So you don't really know what to believe. So ask questions, okay? Don't take anyone's opinion too much unless it's like, hey, this is confirmed. Like, we have confirmation. Otherwise, ask questions. Be on guard. And just be safe. All right? Don't be a piece of shit. God bless you, angels, for making it all the way through this podcast. And I hope that everybody has a great week ahead and a great life, and find a little bit of, just calm the fuck down. You don't have to be at 11 all the time. Okay? Just calm the fuck down. Bye.